I'm Alex Brown, and I'd like to introduce you to the Bare Deck Analysis tool. This tool quickly and dynamically generates custom tables for uniform load capacity, diaphragm capacity, web crippling, allowable construction span, and concentrated load capacity, all in service of giving you the ultimate visibility for your specific deck scenario. Let's jump in. So right off the bat, I want to point out the format of this tool. Here on the left side, you can see very top here, Vulcraft and Verco parts of the United States have been sort of broken apart here. And then that informs this first option here, whether you're using Vulcraft deck or Verco deck, and that will depend on what part of the country you're in. Biggest differences there are going to be in the deck family here. So you can see some of the different, the Verco naming conventions here. And then that also informs stuff like the side lap, the profiles themselves, some of the gauges and grades available. At the very top here, optional inputs, you can enter a job name or a description of what you're calculating here, and all of that will print in the summary that you can download a PDF of. That will be both in the file name and within the PDF itself in the footers. Going down the left side here, the first section is the deck selection itself. And then the second section here is the connections. So that's going to be both the support connections and the side lap connections. Pretty standard options here, what the deck is doing, butted or lapped, what the side laps are going to be. These will filter based on what was selected up here and what type of selection for the side lap there is. So you can see for a punch lock deck, for example, punch lock is the only side lap connection available. And then for support type, we actually support wood as well now. So for mass timber projects using metal deck, all of those values can be calculated as well. For the support member here, we picked the common mass timber types across the country. If there are other options that we really should have here, please contact us at designtools@nucor.com. We will get that added to this dropdown. Minimum support thickness, maximum support thickness, all of that can be punched in here. The end patterns, as you change these values, the image updates as well. So just a good visual confirmation that what you're punching in is what you intend. And then this last section here is the bearing length, minimum end bearing, and minimum interior bearing. And some of these values will change depending on all of the rest of your selections. So that's kind of the general deck input on the left side of the tool. On the right side of the tool, there are these different modes here for each calculation the tool can handle. So uniform load, diaphragm load capacity, web crippling check, construction spans, a roving concentrated load check. So some of these have additional inputs. So you can see here the roving load option has a fair amount of additional info that's needed in order to generate that maximum concentrated load that can be applied to the deck, versus something like uniform load, where there's just one input for the maximum allowable deflection, and then dialing in how you want your tables printed. And within the tables here, the way all of these are formatted for the different modes, these are all collapsible. So you can sort of condense that, or you can expand it to dig in. So this individual analysis, for example, allows you to look at one specific span here. You can enter it feet, inches in the two fields, and then that will tell you exactly what's governing for that maximum allowable uniform load. So let's jump into a real example. I'll go ahead and just refresh the page here to reset all of my values. And we'll look at something in the Vulcraft part of the country. So we'll change that here. A non-composite deck. So that's typically going to be just a roof deck or a non-composite form deck. Though I will point out, you can set this to yes, and that will change it to our VL series and our dovetail deck options. So this is a bare deck analysis. So traditionally, these are going to have concrete topping on top of them. That will be a separate tool to check all of those conditions. But just for the bare deck, for certain construction scenarios you may need to look at, they are included in this tool here. But we'll set that to no, non-composite. B deck, 1.5 inches is fine. This tool does support cellular deck and acoustic deck. So you don't have to do any conservative assumptions, rules of thumb, anything like that to approximate what the capacity may be with the pan or with the acoustic perforations. And you'll notice in this profile option here, that is updating dynamically as well. So this is quite the alphabet soup here. Punch lock, B-deck, pan, acoustic. And then in this dropdown, we do offer that in 2 different sheet widths, 36 inches and 24 inches. So those are included here as well. For our example, we'll keep it a little simple, just B-deck, nestable screwed side lap. So screw is the only option in this case, and that's just 1.5 B, 36-inch coverage. We'll change the gauge from 22 to 20 gauge. And we'll leave it at grade 50 for now, though we do offer grade 80 in some scenarios across the country. For the end condition, we'll leave it both ends butted for now, though with B-deck we often do lap it. Side lap connection, Hilti screw, that's fine. And then for the support type, rather than a steel structure, we'll assume this is a mass timber structure that's using our B-deck for the roof. And then for the support member, we'll leave that as a Douglas fir larch. And then the wood screws here are fine. There are some minimum lengths listed here, and that's to ensure that pullout doesn't govern as we do the various checks. So that's kind of an assumption baked into our calculations. Support thickness needs to be a minimum of 2 inches. You can see that error message there. 36-4 attachment patterns are fine. And then the bearing length, you can see it needs to be just a hair over 2 inches as well. So we'll assume we've got 2.1 inches for the end bearing. So with all of that punched in, we can dive into some of these load summary tables here. And again, uniform load is the first option available. We can change that deflection limit. So 180 is another common one. And you can see that quickly updated and adjusted values as needed. And then we can set the span range for these tables as well. So in this case, it's defaulting to 6 foot starting, going up 6 inches at a time, half a foot. But I can change that to be more precise. Or if I've got some oddball spacing on my project, I'm able to dial that in exactly as the project requires, rather than having to interpolate or guess between static values. So once I have a table generated for my project and it's set up just the way I like it, I can hit this print summary button. Just for example's sake here, we'll go ahead and enter a job name and a description here, just to see how that's incorporated in the file name. So you can see here in the Chrome download, job name example, description, uniform load summary. And then if I open that up, I've got all of my inputs and then all of my outputs. So this was the custom spans that I set for my tables. And you can see that job name and example description showing up here. So this tool is primarily designed around LRFD analysis, and that's most of the information that you'll see outputted here. Though for certain serviceability checks, we do have ASD, inward uniform load capacities, listed here as well. So then scrolling down just a little bit to this individual analysis section, any custom span that's inputted here. So for example, let's do 6 foot 4 inches. So 6 foot there, and then 4 inches there. So that's updated 6.33 feet. So as I mentioned earlier, this gives kind of the governing condition, the load cases that are setting the printed values in the table above. And you can see all of the various checks that go into that. And the print analysis button here is going to generate a very comprehensive analysis package showing that specific span. So if that's a typical span on your project, you've got a full set of calculations here showing how we are analyzing that deck, that condition, that span, and coming up with those values. Moving ahead to the diaphragm analysis. The additional inputs here first are net uplift, if there's any present on the project, and the number of spans that you want to analyze. So typically 3 is going to be a decent number to start with, though we can support up to 10 spans if it happens to be a very short spacing between supports. Again, similar to the uniform loads, I can set my tables to whatever span ranges I want. So here it did retain the 5 foot 10 inches that we had on the previous mode. We'll just set that to 6 foot start and then 3 inch increments there. I can change how the side lap connections are figured, either by spacing or number of connections per span, and then how many connections I'd like to start with, and that'll increment up from there. So the diaphragm tables are all displayed here. So seismic, wind, my shear stiffness, that G prime value, and then the average connection spacing for supports if I had a parallel cord or a collector. That's the number of connections needed to transfer that load in. And then similar to the uniform load mode, there's this individual analysis section here. And once again, I can look at a specific span. Maybe there's one spot, I'm not quite sure how it's going to behave a little bit further than the rest of the job. So an 8-foot space here with 5 connections per span. I can go ahead and print that analysis, and that's here. And you may notice that the file names themselves are named differently for the different modes, whether it's an individual analysis, uniform versus bare deck diaphragm, and that's all intentional. So you can kind of keep putting it into the same folder for that project or for that area of the project and have everything sorted accordingly. And you can see here, full calc package, 17 pages, going through all of the diaphragm calculations for that 8-foot span that we punched in to look at individually. Moving on to the web crippling mode here. This one is a little different than what we've printed in the past. So in this case, we're looking at a range of bearing lengths and then different conditions that are going to hit at each bearing length. So you get this kind of matrix available here, showing all of your available conditions at the various bearing lengths. And those bearing lengths can be customized here, once again, if you need to get it a little more granular. All of that can be printed as well. And we've got this diagram here, just helping to remind everyone what the different conditions are, kind of how to treat one flange versus two flange condition, interior versus the end. For the construction span check here, deflection is the top additional input that's needed, and then what your construction loading criteria is. So these default to the minimum values, but if you did have to check, rather than a light duty assumption here, maybe a medium duty, so 50 PSF, that can be incorporated as well. And that will tell you the maximum allowable spans for 1, 2, and 3 span conditions. It's showing all of the different checks that's going on, and then communicating what that governing limit state is. If you had a cantilever for your bare deck, you can punch that in here, so what your typical backspan would be. So we've been using 8 foot as kind of a running example here with the 50 PSF uniform load that I punched in up at the top. And then based on that, I can get up to a 2'10" cantilever off the edge of the support. And once again, all of the calculations, all of the analysis can be printed with these buttons along the way. And the final mode here is the roving load check. So in this case, the phrase a roving load refers to a concentrated load anywhere along the rib. And the way we calculate that is the total capacity that the deck can handle for a given span and a given deflection limit, minus whatever uniform loading is already being applied to that deck. And then whatever additional capacity it has is printed here as a concentrated load that can be applied to the deck. So this tool does report the worst case capacity based on some conservative assumptions of where that loading is within the span. All of that is printed in the analysis here. And I just want to point out page 4 of that analysis package, showing what those assumptions are as far as where the point load is being checked within the span. And then kind of one cool trick you can use with this mode in particular, once you have your loading inputted, so whatever adjustments you need to make for snow and wind, tornado, etc., that's probably going to be static across the entire roof structure. So you can collapse that and then just tweak these values here to look at the various spans on your project. And that's the bare deck analysis tool. It's a great tool that takes the guesswork out of using steel roof deck, and it greatly expands on the published values in our literature by supporting all deck types, as well as custom conditions, attachments, and table spans. So with that, happy specifying.